Welcome to Defining Dad Bod, where we work to untangle the messy knots of the health and fitness industry as if your children's lives depended on it. Because they do. This is where we decide to make our bodies stand for something bigger than ourselves. This is where we find practical wisdom to live by, one powerful conversation at a time. May the words spoken here inspire you to keep moving forward no matter where you are. Who knows who you could be if you could become 1% better every single day.
We can do the show thanks to the support of listeners just like you. For more information how you can become part of the inner circle, go to findingdadbod.com/inner circle.
What's up, guys? This is Alex Van Houten with Defining Dad Bod. I hope you're doing well. Man, we've had a rough go of it, huh? I hope that this episode is a powerful inspiration and motivation to you to control what you can control. Really short intro today. I just wanted to invite you, if you haven't seen it already, in the Defining Dad Bod Inner Circle, we are working to control our controllables in the Faithful 40 Challenge. The Faithful 40 Challenge is real simple. It's free to you if you want to jump in and do it. What I'm doing is making a post every day that you can reply to on the thread with 3 things. 1, today's workout plan. 2, yesterday's nutrition journal. And 3, your mindset for the day. This is going to be a powerful way to stay mindful and conscious in supportive community while we continue to move forward on our health and fitness goals despite all the stuff happening in the world right now. I'd love for you to be a part of it. If you're not already in the inner circle, it's free to join. Go to definingdadbod.com/inner circle and then find the pinned post at the top of the group that tells you more about the Faithful 40 Challenge. Make sure you click the button that says count me in, and I'll make sure you're tagged in the Faithful 40 thread every day. This 40 days is going to start on the 23rd of March and go all the way to the 2nd of May. It's okay if you don't get started with us on Monday. Just make sure that I know you want to be a part of things so that I can tag you on the thread and remind you what we're doing every day. I hope you find this challenge meaningful, inspiring, and supportive while we all work to make the most out of a bad situation. And now, without further ado, let's talk about exercise and nutrition while quarantined. In light of recent world events, we're taking a quick break from finishing off our True Fit series, that is long-term health and fitness in 2020, to talk a little bit about coronavirus. While my show is a health and fitness show, I am not a doctor, and you've probably heard all of the statistics around coronavirus, so we're not going to cover that here. What I do want to talk about today is the powerful role that your nutrition and exercise plays in the next few weeks to make the most out of a bad situation. This is kind of crazy, isn't it? I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime, and even older family members in their 70s and 80s have said the same thing to me. Kids are home from school right now from mandatory cancellations for the next few weeks. Most of the gyms across the US have also closed. The financial sector is tanking pretty hard, and when you go to the grocery store, at best, most things are only half stocked. It feels like there are a lot of forces moving hard outside of our control. And while the actual peak of the physical suffering has yet to be made manifest by this whole thing, you don't have to talk to many people before you get the sense that it's hard to know what to think about all this, or even what to do about it. Well, today I'm going to tell you that in times like this, when the stock market, your kids' school schedule, and even grocery store aisles are out of your control, you still have a say over what happens with your body. And today I want to support you in your pursuit of disciplining yourself well, of continuing to eat as well as you possibly can in these times, and to continue your exercise program, albeit with a few extra constraints, obstacles, and maybe a little less equipment. I don't know when our kids are going to return to classes. I don't know when my IRA is going to look as good as it did just a few weeks ago. And I don't even know when I'm going to get to use that awesome leg press I like at my local gym. But I do know that as for me and my body, I'm going to end up on the other side of this thing in better shape and better health than when it started. And there's no reason you can't too. This will not be a show about boosting your immune system. So what are we going to do here? Well, I'm going to talk you through some practical exercise help when it comes to performing movements with body weight and minimal equipment. And then we're going to talk through some nutrition priorities to help you maintain lean muscle tissue, good hormonal resilience, and periodizing some of those yummy carbs you've stockpiled. And lastly, I'll leave you with something inspiring. So here we go. Exercise. What the heck do you do when you can't go to the gym? Well, for some of you, I'm preaching to the choir because you have built your own garage gym or studio gym right next to your house or in your house. And so what I'm about to say probably doesn't apply to you. You're going to continue on with business as per usual, and you're welcome to fast forward through this part. But for those of us who have been relying on a gym in our area to use their equipment and perhaps to enjoy some of the energy of the place, this is for you. First, while I'm a personal trainer of over 14 years, and I've used just about every piece of gym equipment you can think of in my career, my fitness journey started with much more humble beginnings. My first experience lifting weights was with my uncle in his shed. Uncle Alonzo, if you're listening, thanks for breaking me in, man. He had a simple barbell set up with one of those old school benches, where the support pillars were close enough in that if you weren't careful, you'd pinch the crap out of your palms every time you re-racked the weight. But that's not when I actually got in shape. When I was 14 years old, I was involved in the Kenwood High School Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, and I was a competitor on the Raider team. What we did was old-fashioned Army calisthenics. Push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, high knees, bear crawls, low crawls, and every other form of crawl you can think of, both with your body weight and while carrying your partner. Simultaneously, I was working for an apartment complex. I didn't have an official title. I think you could just call me a grunt, because I was picking up trash all over the apartment complex, mowing the lawn when it needed mowed, and cleaning and clearing out vacant apartments after a tenant left, but discourteously left a bunch of stuff behind in the process. Why am I telling you this? Well, one of those tenants left a pair of 25-pound dumbbells behind, and I remember asking my manager, "Hey, can I keep these?" And when he said sure, I was just going to throw them away. My eyes lit up. It was my first piece of self-owned gym equipment, and thus started my discipline, weightlifting. Now some of you hardcore weightlifters out there are thinking, what the heck can you do with just two 25-pound dumbbells? Well, remember, I was 14, and I hadn't gotten my man strength yet. So to me, these bad boys were heavy, and they were just about perfect for every exercise under the sun that you can do with a pair of dumbbells. Back then, there wasn't 100,000 YouTube videos with a bunch of different people showing you all the exercises you could do with dumbbells. I picked up about 3 books on weightlifting and practiced for about 30 minutes every day after school. I've since added to my dumbbell collection. I've gotten stronger since then. But the reason I'm telling you this is because I got in amazing shape for myself, with little more than a pair of dumbbells, practicing for many months on end, working hard to master every single muscle, every single skill, and every amount of focus required in those exercises to get the most out of gravity pulling on those dumbbells. What I learned in that process, and later replicated when I trained clients in their own homes while bringing the dumbbells to them, is that the gym equipment you're used to using is just a tool to help you explore using your body well. And while I know that's not intuitive to everybody, what I've done for my part here at Defining Dad Bod is as soon as I heard about gyms closing, and I had several of my personal clients reach out to me for my help in creating an at-home workout program that they could do to keep moving toward their fitness goals despite the lack of equipment, I decided to record some minimalist equipment workouts and put them out on the internet for everybody. I've put the link to our YouTube channel below and would encourage you, if you're struggling, to go check those out. I use body weight and 2 pairs of dumbbells, which most people have at home, and all the exercises can be modified to either become harder or easier, depending on your level of conditioning and your current injuries. I tried to cover some of that in those videos, but if you have specific questions, you're welcome to comment on the threads, either on YouTube or social media, and I'd be happy to help you find the alternative that's right for you. Ideally, you'd still get 2 to 3 days of strength training a week. On a much bigger and broader scale in your program, over the next 4 weeks, you still want to shoot for 3 to 4 sessions of resistance training each week. You can achieve or even maintain your results in as little as 20 minutes each session, but if you have the time, pushing it to 60 minutes each session is a powerful way to continue moving forward. Also, now, with a possible respiratory infection on the horizon for most of us, it's a great time to start investing or continuing to invest in cardio training. 2 to 3 days a week of cardio training at a minimum of 20 minutes each session and a maximum of 60 minutes each session can do a lot to bolster your VO2 and, perhaps more importantly at this time, buffer your anxiety neurotransmitters. I've spoken about this at length elsewhere on the show, and I'll put those links in the show notes below if you're interested in constructing an intelligent cardio program for yourself or hearing more about what cardiovascular exercise can do for your stress levels. Now though, without any gym equipment around, is a great time to get creative with your cardio. Some of us are very happy walking or hiking with a weighted backpack, or in my case, a 1-year-old, and that's fantastic. And others of us are happy jogging or running for low-intensity steady-state training or even high-intensity interval training. That's awesome, but some of us might wrestle to find alternatives that we appreciate. I would encourage you to get involved, especially with your kids, in some sort of game. Frisbee or soccer are great outdoors cardiovascular exercises, while things like dancing are just good old calisthenic movements, like jumping jacks, mountain climbers, or running in place, can be performed indoors and has the added benefit of being fun for the whole family. Lastly, in the show notes, I've included 3 of my favorite resources for minimalist workout inspiration: a Pilates channel, a yoga channel, and the link to an awesome nonprofit organization called Derby. And so whether you join me for my videoed workouts, create your own, or take advantage of any of these resources, I want to encourage you to do what I'm doing. Get moving. Get fitter and healthier after this pandemic thing than before you were, and teach your kids how to follow suit, controlling the things you can control when everything's uncertain. A final note on exercise: if you are having trouble corralling your kids while school's being closed and not overdoing it on the screen time thing, I promise an exercise regimen for all of you will work wonders. There's more that could be said, but I'll get off my exercise soapbox at the moment. Let's talk about nutrition. You know, when the news stories started hitting that people were storming the grocery stores and there was nothing left on the aisles, I thought for sure that many of my clients who were sending me their food journals for nutrition coaching with regard to their goals were going to falter for a bit. But it's been a week now, and if anything, my clients are eating better than they were before the pandemic. I'm sure there are a few different factors here, but when I remarked on this, the feedback I got was, well, hey Alex, eating healthy has its perks. Seems that most of that food was all that was left in the grocery store. It was crazy to walk into Walmart and see almost every bag of chips in the chip aisle completely empty, while frozen veggies and canned fish were completely stocked. It occurred to me that though it seems outlandish to my mind to subsist on chips and frozen pizza, even in the middle of a pandemic, that when the average person stocks up, those are the non-perishables that they think to reach for. And hey man, I'm not arguing with you. If the zombies do take over someday, I'll be first in line to eat some Twinkies, so I have some energy to run from them. But that just doesn't seem to be where we are right now. What should you eat for your health and fitness when everybody else is panicking? Well, in the Van Houten household, it doesn't look any different from a normal week. True, it helps that we keep a few meats in the freezer, so that the big run on chicken and beef didn't really annihilate our stores. But I still incorporate canned salmon, oysters, and sardines in my life regularly. We still use frozen veggies to augment our dinner time, and we still cook quite a bit at once, about 2 or 3 times a week, so we have leftovers to eat on during the week. The only major thing that's changed in our house is it seems like it's going to be difficult to get any supplements over the next month or so. As different companies shut down, and companies like Amazon shift their focus to essential items. But since supplements only make up about 5% of the nutrition in our household, missing out on some magnesium here or there, or taking 1 fewer fish oil a day is really not that big of a deal. If you're concerned about this specifically, I'd recommend pointing your mental efforts toward good proteins, especially ones that are non-perishable. That doesn't mean you need to go stock up on Vienna sausages, potted meat, and Spam, but it means you might find some good deals on the seafood aisle in the freezer section. Additionally, if you're cost conscious in buying good proteins, there's really no better source of high quality protein than canned fish. On average, you can get salmon, tuna, or herring for less than $1 per 25 grams of protein, which really beats the pants off of beef, lunch meats, or even other frozen fishes. And similarly, while the produce areas are very bare in the stores right now, there seems to be an abundance of frozen veggies. Broccoli, cauliflower, peppers, potatoes, carrots, green beans, peas, okra, and Brussels sprouts are among our favorites in the Van Houten household. And to those who aren't so open about the whole canned fish eating thing, I will say, hunger is always the best seasoning, which leads me to the idea of fasting. Now, I don't know anybody at the moment who's so hard up, either for supply or demand, that they don't get to eat right now. But if you haven't practiced fasting lately, now might be a great time to incorporate that discipline. I was joking with my wife last night as she was talking about not really wanting to go back to the store at the moment, while we're running a little low on beef. And I said, honey, worst case scenario, I'd just go without food for a day, and that would feed you and the boys just fine. Now I plan to cover fasting itself in a very well-rounded and fleshed out series soon, but many people I know have commented on how often they've been eating out or eating when they're bored and didn't notice it until trying to implement this whole social distancing thing. The truth of the matter is, most people, not everyone, but most people, have not been truly hungry in several years. And so if you're of the mind to do so, this may be a great opportunity in your world to spend a little time remembering what being actually hungry feels like. Unless you're a child or have a specific medical condition, most human bodies can go 30 to 40 days without food. I'm not saying it would be pleasant, but if you're scared of the idea of going without food for a day, perhaps that fact might bolster your resolve. Again, I'll cover fasting in full at a later date, but for those of you who have developed the discipline, don't forget it's a tool in your toolbox, and unless you did it for a very long time, it's not going to kill you. In closing, yeah, these are scary times. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know how many more measures are going to be taken, and we're not really sure what the repercussions of this whole thing might be in the months or maybe even the years that follow. But I hope today, as you've heard me talking through nutrition and exercise, that you know for you and your body, this is a time to invest in a 1% better, or maybe even more, version of you every single day. This can be an opportunity for you and your family to pull together, to eat well, to exercise and have a grand old time, and in the face of fear, be strong and courageous. I don't know what the future holds, but I know there's more to you than you think. I want to leave you with some powerful words that were gifted to me when I graduated high school. See, I grew up without a dad in the house, and concepts of masculinity were hard for me to wrap my head around. And even still to this day, raising young boys to be upstanding and honorable men someday, I still struggle. But this poem, shared with me, written by Rudyard Kipling, has been something that I could come back to again and again when things are uncertain. The poem's called If. Whether you're a man or a woman, I hope it's inspiring to you. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to, broken, and stoop, and build 'em up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it in one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings and not lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. This has been Alex Van Houten with Defining Dad Bod. Until next time, guys, wash your hands, kick butt, take names.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The free, practical advice and conversations here remain unbought and unbiased thanks to the support of listeners just like you. If this episode's been helpful to you, please share it with somebody in your life who you know it will benefit. Then, subscribe to the podcast and leave us a raving review to tell others what value Defining Dad Bod has brought to your health and fitness journey. And finally, if you want more Defining Dad Bod, consider joining our online community. We send a lot of free perks and resources your way, and I, Coach Alex, go live every month to talk through our listeners' health and fitness questions to make the practical science of this show applicable to everyday life. Everyone's welcome, and we'd love to have you. For more information about joining the Inner Circle or becoming a supporter of the Defining Dad Bod podcast, go to definingdadbod.com/inner circle. That's definingdadbod.com/inner circle.